All right, so we're going to continue with being able to graph linear equations. Specifically in this video, we're going to look at how to graph standard form. Okay, so standard form here. Now, previously we looked at how to graph slope intercept form. Okay, and notice in the name it tells us what's in that form. Y equals mx plus b. I have a slope and I have an intercept. In that case, it's the y-intercept, okay? Now, what we want to graph is standard form. Standard form, okay? Now, standard form is going to look like these guys here, okay? Where we have ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are just some real numbers, okay? For instance, in this example, a would be 3, okay? B would be 2, or negative 2, excuse me, and c would be 10, okay? So they're just some real number values, okay? Now, we want to be able to graph these, and there's two different options or two different routes that we can take. We're going to focus on the first one in this video, and in the next video, we'll look at the second option, okay? So it says in order to graph this, we have two approaches. We can rearrange the equation so that it's in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. In other words, we want to be able to take this and rearrange it into slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. In other words, we need to get the y by itself. Now, you guys have done this before when we were working with literal equations. We just need to solve for y by adding or subtracting the x, then dividing by y's coefficient. So that's the first approach. And then the next video, we'll talk about how to find it with intercepts, okay? So in this first video, we're just going to focus on these two examples here, number 2 and 3. And we want to solve this for y. We want to take this standard form and rewrite it into y equals mx plus b, okay? Well, how are we going to do that? Well, first we need to subtract 3x from both sides, move it to the other side. This would go away, and I'm going to write it out here. We get a negative 2y equals a negative 3x, we keep the sign, and a positive 10, so plus 10. Now, the next step is to divide by y's coefficient. We have multiplication, so I divide by a negative 2 to each piece, each term here. And my negative 2's cancel out, and I get y equals, two negatives make a positive, and then 3 over 2 is just going to remain as 3 halves. 3 halves doesn't reduce, so we're just going to leave it as a fraction. This is our rise over run. Okay, so we have 3 halves x. Then we have 10 divided by a negative 2. Positive divided by a negative is negative. Okay, 10 divided by 2, 5. Okay, so this is our y equals mx plus b. So we took standard form here and rewrote it into y equals mx plus b. Now I can actually graph it doing the same thing that we did before. This guy right here is our y-intercept. That's what we're going to start with. That's where it crosses the y-axis. So we're starting at a negative 5. Then my rise over run is 3 over 2. So I have to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and I have to go over 2, 1, 2. So my rise over run tells me I went 3 over 2. These are my 2 points, connecting them. This is the line for this equation here, okay? So that would be the graph of the line for the standard form equation we were given, okay? Same thing with this guy. We want to rewrite it as y equals mx plus b. So I need to subtract 7 from both sides, 7x. This goes away, and I'm going to write this over here. And we end up with 3y equals a negative 7x and a positive 6. Okay, negative 7x and a positive 6. Now, remember, we have to get rid of y's coefficient. I have a positive 3 here, so we're going to divide by a positive 3 to each piece. This goes away, and we get y equals negative 7 over 3. Does that reduce? No. So we're just going to leave it as a negative 7/3 x. 6 divided by 3, positive 2. So now, again, we start with the y-intercept. Our y-intercept is 2, so we're crossing the y-axis at a positive 2. Then my slope, my rise over run, tells me how to get to the next point. In this case, it's negative, so I have to go down. So I'm going down 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and then I have to go to the right 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. So these would be my 2 points, and this would be the line of this standard form equation. Okay?